Welcome to the Essential Skills for Humaning podcast, where we explore the fundamental abilities and insights that make us better humans. Here's your host, Christina Eanes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Essential Skills for Humaning. I'm your host, Christina Eanes, and today we're talking to Hanna Bauer. Welcome, Hanna.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Christina.
Hey. Well, before we jump into hustling with heart, can you share a little bit about your background with our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Well, I am here to serve leaders who don't just want to do the thing, but want to do the right thing and do it right. So meaning that I find that in growing in our leadership, we can find the right mix of our people systems and our processes and technical aspects so that we can really get in line and alignment with our purpose. So my background is as a black belt in Six Sigma, entrepreneur for over 20 plus years, and had the opportunity to serve with great leaders at the local level, at the state and national level. And I currently get to serve the Maxwell leadership team as part of their faculty. So we have about 56,000 coaches in our team. So and growing.
Wow. Well, and you have a book, Hustle with Heart, and I love it because it has 52 relatable mini shifts that anyone can use, right, to maximize their development, essentially. So let's start. Where do you want to start with? How do we hustle with heart?
Well, that actually came from the things that we learn, unlearn, and relearn in how it's just we many times don't learn from experience, but we learn from reviewed experience. And that really was what my book came about. It's once I reviewed my experience, and what experience am I talking about specifically? Well, a lot of the name of my company is called Heartnomics. And that is rooted from a heart disease that I overcame since childhood. I had this terminal diagnosis at the age of 4, up until I was 14. Yeah. So the book, Hustle with Heart, the little mini shifts, came really written from my hospital bed as I was battling through things, but it's because I was very limited in what I could do. So the mini shift is also understanding that the greatest of intention will be trampled any day by the smallest of action. And the smallest of action, it looks different for people wherever you're at, right? I mean, in the hospital, I learned that there were days where the biggest goal, it's a huge celebration time where you can just stand up on your own.
Yeah.
Take one step. And then maybe do one time around the hall, different things that we celebrated where they're at. A lot of times we take those for granted. Now, I didn't stay there, right? So it wasn't like you're just always around the hallway. We get to celebrate all the time.
Yeah.
I realized that in taking that celebration, it allowed me to then move on to other things. Kind of like what I mentioned at the beginning when we just introducing ourselves. Those things were all a result of mini shifts. The way that I looked at my circumstances that I didn't really have control over. And then as fast forward as a leader, entrepreneur, mom, really a lot of things, I started realizing that I was facing some of the similar symptoms that I was going through when I had the heart disease. And as a matter of fact, as I looked at my organization, I started seeing hey, they're even saying the words I would say when I was going through my heart problems. And what was that? Well, a lot of the symptoms that we associate with burnout, the symptoms that we associate with just that exhaustion, that feeling of constantly doing something, not getting anywhere and seeing like there's no end in sight. The consistent feeling of not enough or, can't even catch my breath. And really just that overall exhaustion at the end of the week, overwhelm. And I remember as a kid growing up feeling that. And what was going on? Well, there were systematic problems. And the book, the little mini shifts are about that. It's about the framework, the values that really led me through a very difficult time. But the same values I started applying, being intentional in my company. And also it's how the values beat, because it's not only having these values. Well, how do I grow in values? Beat is about having a systematic way to align yourself. And that's BEAT is for believe, engage, act, transform. And the framework heart is for the values-based leadership, which is hope, empowerment, accountability, results, and trust. So a combination of those two to be able to have internal alignment for external execution.
I love that. Well, and I love that you chose mini shifts, right? Because that means we're more likely to do them.
Yes.
Especially when life is just coming at us, for whatever reason, right? So we're more apt to do them, and they have a compound effect.
Oh, 100%. They do. Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't do much. So actually my mini shifts is like, there's 52, one for each week. So, and if you notice, like a 2-little-page part is what you'll do for the whole week, because I work with a lot of very busy people. I have 5 kids myself. And let me tell you, there's times where, like, again, like you feel like I'm just going to catch my breath, but nonetheless, it's like a time to get back with your purpose and be intentional in your growth.
Yeah. Nice. Well, let's go into the values. Can you share a little bit more about each one and maybe why you chose them?
Yeah, well, HEART for me wasn't just a fun acronym. It really is the foundation for a lot. And as I mentioned, in working with leaders, getting to travel, I realized that all this high performance, the things that we talked about, high performance, highly effective, impactful leaders, well, there were also leaders that led with high values. They were values-based. They were sure, confident in their values. And the values that I kept on hearing coming back up, well, first of all, was the value of hope, which is H in heart. And hope really not as a wishful thing, but hope being the catalyst for action. And I realized how much that had impacted me overall, because it was hope that kept me alive. As a matter of fact, I didn't even realize what the impact was of the surgery that I underwent through that, which became a pioneer surgery. And it was the hope that really allowed not only the professional community to keep on trying in light of nothing really, no cure in sight, not even a pathway, but it allowed me to stay alive, because the hope that my parents put in me, the family, the community, allowed me to stay in a place where I could then be ready for when the cure came in to be able to step into that. So that's where hope comes in, which also goes to empowerment. When you have hope, you empower other people. In leadership is, first of all, empowering yourself. I think a lot of the fatigue and the exhaustion comes in from leaders that are walking around disempowered. They feel like they have a lot of responsibility, yet have no authority in the decisions that they have to make. So really it's empowering, learning to empower the leader, the person, with taking ownership in their authority, but also knowing how to delegate authority and being able to empower other people. So that's what empowerment is about. And then accountability, I know sometimes like dirty word, like nobody uses punitive. But when I looked at accountability, I realized, yes, it starts with accountability with yourself, right? Because you're building with the self efficacy is the accountability, but also you can't do accountability by yourself. So really accountability talks to community. When you are talking about like when we grow together, I mean, even in accountable, you really have an exponential growth when you are in doing something greater than yourself. And that comes with being accountable and being in community. So that's that value and results. Because, hey, we've got to be doing something. Like, that's the whole point, right? I mean, like, I'm doing this action so that it can yield something, and I have to be able to measure it. So the value of results is, well, what are my current metrics? What are my current measurements for if I want to have a better life? Well, what does better look like? What is the result of better? What are the results I'm not happy with? What are the results I do want to see? So the results is attached also to the fulfillment aspect, right? Like even if you talk about orders, your order was fulfilled. So like there's a endpoint, right? There's like, okay, what does this look like? So the value of results, and then trust, meaning that trust is really what keeps the glue all together. Because if you don't have that trust, then there's no relationship. If there's no relationship, there really is no business, no family, no anything. Trust is a key value that we must grow into, both make deposits into, and as we are asking people to trust us, well, we are really seeing that as withdrawals. So that means that we have to be that much intentional in building that trust. So those are the values that I had to learn. I mean, especially in a time of ambiguity, of uncertainty, you don't know where you're going, but you have to trust the relationship. You have to trust the hope. You have to trust the value alignment. You have to trust so many other things so that you can take that step together for that improvement that you want to see.
That. Well, and people who are more aware of their own values and living them are just happier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this reduces the conflict, right? I mean, if you are aware of your values, you're confident. I see one of the greatest attacks really in leaders overall is their identity as a leader. Mm-hmm. And that's because also the values, the uncertainty, right? Like the rise of these new tools, the rise of, different ways of doing things, and just change is happening so fast. I can't learn fast enough, or even when I learn, is it going to stay long enough for me to really make a significant impact, because the next change is right right after it. So it is so key to to know your values, because that's really your grounding. Leaders that are grounded in their values, they're highly effective, not because they know everything, but because they're able to adapt.
Yeah.
Able to be agile, and they're able to give trust and receive trust.
Yeah. Leaders, and even non-positional leaders, we'll call them, just anyone. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you have to lead yourself, right? So I mean, like, everybody has the potential, like, to be able to do it. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we tend to sometimes miss our level of influence or trust, or even values. I have to live with values because I may not be in a position, but you're influencing all the time. Some of my greatest, if not my greatest turnaround as a leader, came from probably what you would say my frontline employee, a person that was not in a position to really do anything. And yet I would say what he did for me was the catalyst for the entire way I viewed my leadership.
Yeah.
And he was the one on the front line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So now you came up with the BEAT method. Can you share a little bit about that and how anyone can use it?
Yeah. So I realized, okay, these are great to have. Like, like we can share like the values, and sometimes I feel like concepts, but it's like, okay, if it's a value, we can grow in value. I mean, we do that with our money, right? We talk about inflation. We talk about raising the way that our accounts are. So our values, we can develop our values, they can grow. And they also, we talked about values grounding. So how do we do that? How do we become intentional? I can't just say, well, I'm going to grow in hope today. I have to have a way. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what BEAT is. BEAT is a strategic way for you to be able to grow in that value. And it starts with the first of all, believe. At times while I was in the hospital, that's all I could have. That's all I could do was believe. And I caught myself the days that the days I was drained, completely drained, were also attached with the belief I was carrying, even though the circumstances could tell you that. I mean, so obviously, I'm in a hospital, I'm CCU, I'm not breathing. I mean, yeah, what are you going to believe? It's like, so I couldn't deny the circumstance, yet learning in spite of the circumstance is what is your belief at that time. And is that belief working for you? How is that belief working? So that's the first part, believe. The second part is the engage. Engage is engaging with whatever you have. It could be engaging with your environment. It can be engaging with the people around you. It can be engaging with knowledge, engaging with a book, some way of to engage. Like, let me think into that, like that belief, switch that belief to something that's working for me. And how can I engage? Who can I call? Who can I text? What are the resources available for me in this area, in this belief, that are going to help me take this belief from one dimension to the other? And then the third part is the act, which is really, again, the mini shift, right? I mean, it goes from the mini shift. I won't act unless I already have some idea, and even be resourced in the acting. So that coming from engage, but the action, knowing that the smallest of action will trample the greatest of intention any day. So the act is, what's one step? What is one small thing I can do that's going to move the needle in the right direction to express that belief that I have, and finally, to transform the transform is a transformation, is what I'm going to get or what I'm getting out of my action. Does it align with my belief? Is it in place? And it really becomes this feedback loop, because my transformation is going to be a direct result of my belief. And so as I look at my transformation, I also have to know, well, what is the transformation I'm expecting out of this? What is it that I'm looking at really transform? What do I want from this? And questioning back, well, will this transformation, does this belief work with this transformation? So that's the internal alignment.
Nice. I can see how the values play a part in all of those steps too.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Can you give us an example of something that anyone can do? Maybe like one of the first few mini shifts, like one of them for anyone.
Well, my favorite one always comes in with hope, right? Because it's a catalyst. As I mentioned, I realized there were things that suddenly drained me, and it can even be like sometimes people can drain you, right?
Absolutely.
Like you feel like, oh,
yeah,
when that. Oh, what was it that drained you, right? I mean, so even being able to identify, sometimes we don't identify what's the shift that I want, but I realize what something just had the effect. So one of the things I do here in the mini shift, for example, the mini shift number 1 is fuel your future with hope. Sometimes that doesn't come in like, oh, I'm going to fill my future with hope today.
Done. No.
Yeah. But it may come like this, like where maybe I need to work on this, because it may come as in the draining thought. I can't see a clear path forward. Everything feels uncertain. And that's the way it may show up. It's like, wait a second, I need to work on my hope, because I need to fill my fuel. So somebody who may be feeling that the weight of uncertainty, the anxiety that comes from uncertainty, well, the way that the antidote, let's say the medication for that, is to fill your hope. So the mini shift here would be shift from doubt to possibility. And it's focusing on what could go right. Yeah, I mean, what could? We're not making any major commitments. Not like this is going to go right this way, but what could go right? I mean, can we be curious about that? Because to every positive, there's a negative, right? To every up, there's a down. How do I know I'm inside? Because I know what it's like to be outside. So we know there's always opposites. So let's be curious about what the mini shift could be. So if, what turning that doubt from possibility, focusing on what could go right, and let hope set the tempo for your transformation journey. So from that is a belief, right? Okay. So like how do I apply belief to that? Well, believe what would help me in this? Focus on possibilities, not limits. So what are the possibilities? So the engage part there is seek people and resources that feel hope. Maybe it's a quote that I saw. Maybe it's somebody that comes to mind, like somebody who's hopeful. Just engaging with that. What does hope feel like? I mean, I can't try to do something I don't really know. How do I know when I'm with hope? How do I know when I'm not hope? And that's really an act of engaging, which then leads me to actually acting, which is take one small step, like writing down one of your goals. Hey, write it down. Write it down. What if this goal comes to pass? Just writing it down, and that again in itself, you're bringing it from one dimension to the other. You're bringing it from believe to like, now you engage, you're giving it more legs, but the actual writing of it, there is so much power in that, or speaking it out. Any the smallest thing. Again, we may not always stay there. Like I say, we were in the hospital. It was a great deal when I got to stand up and walk around the hall. Eventually, I had to fly places. I go to places. So we grow into it, but it always starts with a mini shift. And finally, it transforms, where allow hope to establish the rhythm of your journey, propelling you forward. The transformation is really that rhythm. When you start feeling that rhythm of, moving forward, that's a transformation I want to see. So going back to my belief, how do I know that the beat? Because I'm focusing on possibilities. The possibilities that start dictating on that tempo. And it's a decision I have to make, right? Do I want my tempo to be filled with possibilities or be stuck by doubt? And you get it.
I love that, because typically the brain wants to go through all the things that could go wrong.
Yes.
Right. And just a little shift in what could go right can totally change your outlook. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it takes intentionality, because you're absolutely right. That's where we want us to go immediately. And it's because it's trying to protect us.
Yeah.
It's a protection mechanism. And it takes work. It takes being intentional to make that turn, or like, hey, brain, It's okay. But it's also the other side.
We got this. Let's go. Oh, I love it. Now, I know there's 51 others. People are going to want to learn more about this and do more mini shifts. So can you share a little bit about your products and or services?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you could learn more about me in Heartnomics. I mean, I would love to help you all with alignment. So I actually have a free assessment there for individual alignment. It's completely done with heart. So the heart part, you're going to be able to see what is the area maybe you want to grow in specifically. So I have a place there so it can give you the first step on where to grow. And do not only that, but the coaching, the executive, also with organizations, really for me is not only the work that we get to do individually with the heartbeat, but also the work we get to do collaborating with each other. And for that, I have Hardcore. So I also have an assessment there, complimentary for your listeners that they can download, they can look, for entrepreneurs that are there, and also along with a digital course. It's all, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can connect, and I'm here to serve you.
Aw. So the website is it heartnomics.com? There we go. We'll make sure that gets put in the episode description.
Yay.
Yay. So what is your final piece of advice for listeners?
Oh my goodness. Well, one thing that I come to find is that really it is about transformation. It's a journey, right? Not just a destination, which a lot of times the frustration comes in like, oh, it's just would change. But really, be mindful of leading with love. I think is the main part. Love, because I find that to be the sustaining aspect in the midst of all this change. And definitely have a process and trust the process, because the process is going to help you rectify, learn from, and pass it down, pass it on to somebody else that can also be helped by your own life journey. So have love and have processes and systems, and be open to the transformation that leading with both of those can give you.
Aw, I love that. Perfect way to close us out for today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Hanna.
Well, thanks for having me.
Transform your organization with Eanes Training. Our premier interpersonal skills training programs are tailored to enhance your organization's employees in communication, emotional intelligence, leadership, and more. We have a catalog of expert-led courses designed to meet the dynamic needs of today's workforce. With highly engaging in-person, hybrid, and remote sessions, we can help elevate your organization's performance and success. Learn more at eanestraining.com. Thank you for tuning in to the Essential Skills for Humaning podcast. We hope you've gained valuable insights to enhance your journey as a human being. Remember, practice makes progress. Keep honing those essential skills, and until next time, keep being the best version of yourself. For more resources, visit eanestraining.com.